Round 4 of the 2024 European Endurance Prototype Cup comes from a brand new circuit for this generation of prototype machinery. For the Ultimate Cup Series, it's the first time we've been to the circuit Mugello in 5 years. And in anticipation for a number of series returning to this series, we have a influx of very competitive entries for this weekend. 36 prototype cars, an even split between the LMP3 machinery from Ligier, Duqueine and Ginetta and the Nova MPO2s, which will be competing out there. But firstly, for qualifying, which is coming up in just a few minutes' time. We have just under 3 minutes until the green light for Q1. When the drivers will head out onto this 5.245 kilometre circuit. And it will be the averages of the 3 sessions that set the grid for this afternoon's 4-hour race. In the practice sessions so far, it has been the same 2 crews in both LMP3 and MPO2 that have been topping the timesheets. In FP1, it was Cool Racing's number 87, Ligier, of Quentin Joseph, David Drew and Adrian Klosmanil. The latter 2 being the current Le Mans Cup Championship leaders. They set the fastest time with an offer of 6.451, and in MPO2 it's the number 9 Graf crew of Eric Trulé, Louis San Juan and Loris Kai-Bers that has been setting the pace. And there's a slight change in the lineup there for the number 9 crew, with Loris Kai-Bers moving over from the number 8 car to replace David Drew, who is competing with his Le Mans Cup team for this weekend, having been part of Graf's Nova lineup for most of the season. So we have cars at the end of pit lane just waiting to get this qualifying session underway. There's a good example of the the undulation changes here at Mugello. If you're tuning into Ultimate Cup Series action for the first time this weekend, this is not what the conditions have been all weekend. It's been glorious sunshine, searing heat, but now we're expecting the thunderstorms to kick in at some point, either late this morning or early in the afternoon, just in time for the start of our 4-hour race. And now, was that smoke, or was that already spray being kicked up as the rain arrived early? We're going to find out as we have green flags flying for Q1 to set the grid for round 4 of the European Endurance Prototype Cup. So far this year we have seen 3 different overall winners, and for the Novas, 2 of them have come this season, having only won 1 race overall in the entire history of this car racing in the championship. But there you can see the various mix of different cars. Joining us for this weekend, we have the Le Mans Cup Championship leaders, as we mentioned, and the European Le Mans Series LMP3 Championship leaders as well. Additional cars coming from Team Virage. They're running up to 4 cars now this weekend, if you include the one entered under the Breton Racing banner. CD Sports here with their usual 3 cars. Graf here with 3 cars as well in the MPO2 category. We welcome back into Europol competition, as you can see there, with 2 of their cars, Alexander Buketstoff and Pedro Perino, now joined by Kai Aski in the number 34 Ligier, as well as Tim Kreswitz, Sebastian Graveland and Dane Aronson in 43. We also welcome GG Classics and their Ligier, the Australian auto dealer, who have been competing as their own team, having been previously run by the Graf team last year. James Sweetnam joining Fraser Ross and George Nakas, the usual 2 drivers aboard that car in Le Mans Cup. The usual 4 entries from ANS Motorsport as well, 3 Novas and 1 Ligier, Julien Lemoine and Paul Trojani. And there is definitely seems to be some rain in the air by the looks of it. Well, the headlights are on and the first flying laps are now getting underway. 5.245 kilometers as we mentioned, but still many of the drivers squabbling for track position as the Euro International Ligier there, the number 11 car, the blue Ligier that's just popped out of pit lane, having to keep well clear of everyone during this early part of the lap. So who have we got? In the number 9 Graf car, we have Luis San Juan. The number 7 we just saw flicking through shots there is John Corbett, the bronze driver. If you have a bronze and non-bronze lineup, then the bronze driver has to do 2 of these qualifying sessions, but they can't do them back-to-back. So if you're a bronze-silver pairing like James Winslow and John Corbett, then John Corbett will have to do this session, James the middle session, and then John will do the 3rd and final session. And remember, it's the averages of the 3 lap times set that we are looking for. Bit of dust has been kicked up on the exit of looked like Pelagio. And we've seen it's been a heavily interrupted free practice running so far, with multiple stoppages for cars in the gravel, cars stopping on track. And what we've got to remember is that for a number of these drivers, this is a brand new circuit, even if it's not in this machinery anyway, because it's been quite some time since prototype racing has come to Mugello. Everyone's eagerly anticipating the European Le Mans Series race later in the month, and anybody who's been racing here will have a slight edge when they hit the track for practice for the first time, but it means that the brunt of it has been taken out on these practice sessions, which have just seen so many stoppages. I think we had 10 red flags in one day, and so there's not been ample opportunity for many of the drivers to get a good, solid, consistent run in. But hopefully now they will be a bit more well behaved. So first lap times coming in. Currently 1:45.379 is the fastest time from Sebastian Alvarez in the 1:54 Kogamo Nova. And that is an additional driver for this weekend, Sebastian Alvarez, the Mexican, standing in for Johan Rizal, currently competing in LMP2 of the European Le Mans Series with Inter Europol. Second in the championship is Alvarez, but the sector times being lit up by Kai Aski in the 34 Inter Europol competition at Ligier, as he's gone fastest in the first 2 sectors. And if that's Kai Aski there, he's about to get a fantastic tow from the John Corbett Nova as well. And Kai Aski does go to the top of the times with a 1:43.667. So it goes to show just how little time they were getting in practice yesterday, because we're lapping several seconds faster than what we were during free practice. Actually, my apologies. It's the times from a different race event that I was giving you there, because the fastest times actually were coming from 71, which is the ANS Nova, during free practice. This is. So looking at the free practice times now, actually it's a 1:43.080. That's the best time going into this weekend. So we've got a few tenths to find there. That was set by James Winslow in the number 7 Graf car. And again, more dust being kicked up there. But this is the 34 Kai Aski, currently fastest in this Q1 session from Daniel Macia, the Spaniard in the 88 Team Virage car. That is leading, third in the championship, behind the sister number 1 car from Team Virage that has won as a team every race so far this year in LMP3. 2-1 to the number 1 crew as Sebastian Alvarez, the LMP2 racer, takes back the fastest time of the session, 1:43.461 for the Mexican. Joining Jesse Bouhet and Antoine Lacoste. Jesse Bouhet third in the MPO2 standings going into this weekend. I had a message up. Car 20 has spun and rejoined at turn 11. So at Pelagio, car 20 being one of the 2B Autosport Novas. Number 20 being driven by David Delusinge. So here we can see the man fastest in the session so far, Sebastian Alvarez, but a purple sector time coming in from Ian Aguilera in the number 3 CD Sport car. Ian Aguilera, another Mexican driver, rejoining Nick Adcock and Michael Jensen. Here is the number 3 CD Sport car now. As he goes across the line, goes second fastest. Didn't improve in the final sector there, but just 72 thousandths of a second away from his countryman. And we have a red flag out. We have a car off, and that is Jacek Zielonka in the 88 Team Virage Ligier. That is second in the standings. And that, of course, means that it will now be a back-of-the-grid start for the 88 car because it's unlikely that it'll get out for the other 2 sessions. This session will not be resumed, though. And so with just under 6 minutes left on the clock, and because we have quite a tight schedule here with 2 4-hour races that we're trying to squeeze in, and with the anticipation of heavy showers to come as well, Race Control has opted to not have this session restarted. So it will be Sebastian Alvarez in the 154 Kogumo Racing Nova that is fastest in Q1. And Ian Aguilera in second. Of the LMP3 runners, it's Kai Aski who is fastest in LMP3 for Inter-Europol competition. And then we see a very sorry-looking Team Virage car in the gravel at turn 12, which is Corintau. So 1:43.463 is the fastest time so far. So we'll keep an eye out on the remaining times to see if anyone can better that. That's not the fastest lap of the weekend, though, as we had a 43 flat, but obviously we cut the session short, so might not have been able to get all of the performance out of the car as expected. And if you're, a team like Kogumo or CD Sport, and you've put your really quick driver in for this session, then that means you've kind of lost out a little bit there. But it's very close again between the MPO2s and the LMP3s, even though in Hockenheim last time there was a change to the ride height test for the Novas that required them to have an extra 200 kilos on board when being tested, and the ride height significantly increased. MV2S racing there, number 27. Nova, who was driving the 27 in that session? Was Christoph Cresp. And he is, of course, our Road to Le Mans winner from earlier in the year with Maximus Meyer. Be Pierre-Alexandre Provost who gets into the car for the next session, as that is a fair bit of damage that, unfortunately, Jacek Zelonka has done to the front of the Ligier there and given Team Virage a little bit of work to do. So we didn't see times in that session from Philippe Simidomo in the 28 MV2S Racing Nova, neither from the 61 MG Sound Studio Ginetta, and nor from the number 85 RHGP Duqueine. And that, of course, immediately puts them towards the rear of the field. Effectively, you only start ahead of people who've done fewer qualifying sessions than you. So that is going to be a rear of the field start for all three of those teams. A good opportunity to thank the marshals for their efforts and their work that they do. They've survived the searing heat so far this weekend, and we're expecting that this afternoon they're going to have to endure quite a big thunderstorm as well. In fact, it's a red alert that's been given to the region for rain, and an orange alert for thunderstorms. So we are anticipating a fair bit of rain to come. There we see the 42 Team Virage car there, which I believe is a chassis that normally races under the Breton Racing banner. But that 42 car additional for this weekend being driven by Marius Fossard. And two bronze drivers, Bertrand Godin and Paris Stavrakidis. It's another Greek driver, in addition to Georgios Kolovos and Jacek Zelonka. So we just wait for the grid to be cleared. Excuse me, I must apologise to Jacek Zelonka because it was Daniel Messier in the car. And I believe Claire can pass on my apologies to Jacek now.
Yes, Chris, I have passed on your apologies to Jacek for saying it was you, unfortunately, that crashed, but it was your teammate, of course, Daniel. Can you just talk us through what happened? It's frustrating, isn't it, at this point?
Yes, it's very frustrating. He had a small touch with the other car in one of the corners, then he got the puncture, and in effect he went straight in the corner, and he come to the gravel and hit the wall. But hopefully it won't be so bad, and we can continue the qualifying, because if not, we will start in the back of the pack. It will be really difficult.
That is going to be difficult. There's a lot of things at play today.
Yeah.
We've got a red weather warning for rain. We've got an orange weather warning for thunderstorms. So it could be a bit chaotic out there if that rain does come in.
Yes, I'm sure it will be a very tricky and difficult day for every driver's team, and I hope it will be the last red flag during this event.
Same, I agree with you there. You saw it on board. Did you see any of the damage?
The front. He hit the front. So.
Bad?
So, yeah, we have a nose, but we'll see how much it is. Is it just the nose, or is it more? But we have to wait for the car when they bring the car, yes?
Yeah, always difficult to say if you can go back out with the damage out there. Sorry, I thought you were looking behind to see if there was someone.
Watching, when they bring the car. Okay, waiting for that moment. So.
Okay, well, hopefully that car will be ready to go back out for the next part of qualifying. Bad luck out there.
Yes, yes. Let's see. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. Chris, back to you. The rain's not here yet in the pit lane, but as you can see, people are starting to get worried.
Yes, and probably with good reason as well. Apologies again to Jacek Salonka and any Jacek fans that are watching along. Of course, it was the young Spaniard, Daniel Macier, at the wheel of the car. All three drivers aboard the 88 in their first year of LMP3 competition. For Daniel Macier and the other silver driver, Rafael Narak, it's a recent switch over from single-seater racing. For Jacek, it's a move over from the radical racing scene. And they were able to take victory in LMP3 on their debut in Paul Ricard. And second for them in Hockenheim as well, behind the sister number 1 car. It's all been about Virage so far in LMP3, with their nearest challenger coming from TS Corsa's Nathan Kumar. TS Corsa again with 2 new teammates for Nathan Kumar, the Australian racer. So this weekend he is being joined by Euro Formula racer Francesco Simonazzi in their number 24 Duqueine, and also by the Spaniard Daniel Nogales, who I believe is making his prototype debut, having done a various mix of Spanish F4 and Eurocup 3 over the last couple of years, having actually started out in Clio Cup Europe. So cars making their way back into the fast lane. It looks like we are going to get session 2 underway. Remember, the fastest time in Q1 was set by Sebastian Alvarez in the 154 Kokomo Racing Nova, 143.463. There is the TS Course Duqueine that we were just talking about. So we wait to get the green flag. Another shot to just show you the various mix of LMP3 machinery we have here. We mentioned it's an even split of MPO2 and LMP3 cars, but the latter being made up of 14 Ligier, 2 Duqueine and 2 Ginetta as well. That was our reigning MPO2 champions there from Racing Spirit of Le Mans. Hasn't been going all their own way though in the standings so far for Jacques Wolf and Nicolas Morlini. So they have fallen down the order slightly. Jacques Wolf not in the top 10 in the standings going into this one. So far it's all been about Graf really, with the number 7 and the number 9 crews that have rather been dominating proceedings. But last time it was about CD Sports, with Jonathan Thomas and Thomas Imborg finally getting over some bad luck and mechanical woes to show what they were able to do, and took a rather spectacular overall victory in the number 5 car, as cars make their way back out onto the racetrack for the second of these 3 15-minute qualifying sessions. And I can tell you it is Sasha Lehmann now aboard the number 1 Team Virage car that leads the championship. We do have the sort of slightly peculiar situation because Sasha Lehmann didn't race for the team in Paul Ricard. He has 10 points less than Axel Noss and Georgios Kolovos. So some might consider him still the championship leader, but if you wanted to be pedantic about it, technically he's second in the standings behind his 2 teammates in the number 1 car. And there he is, just leading some of the other LMP3 machines out of Pelagio. And really, we haven't taken a second to appreciate this incredible circuit that we've come to for round 4 here. There is that number 9 Graf car that is fourth in the standings in MPO2. The number 3 CD Sport car now being driven by Nick Adcock, one of their bronze drivers, the 59-year-old from Cape Town, now in his 25th year of racing, and he and Michael Jensen have had incredible success together in prototype racing, as they've competed in Asian Le Mans Series and the European Le Mans Series together in recent years. Both coming out of the South African endurance racing scene. And for this weekend being joined by the Guadalajaran, Ian Aguilera. So we see the Writer Engineering car of Stefan Rupp make his way around the lap, flying downhill through that beautiful sequence in the middle sector of Casanova into Cervelli. Now Arrabbiata 1, the lowest point on the racetrack, and then up the hill towards Arrabbiata 2. But let's head back downstairs to Claire Cottingham, who's in the Graf garage.
Yeah, in the Graf garage indeed, alongside me, Kevin Rabin. Kevin, welcome back to the championship. We haven't seen you for a couple of rounds. How are you feeling being back?
Well, I'm not really in the championship because I didn't do the first races, but I'm here to just keep going in my future. But yeah, we're looking good, so yeah.
Yeah, racing a bit more for pride rather than points at this. Well, still points, but you know what I mean. You got caught out, obviously, by that red flag. Just talk us through your session.
Yeah, so we had great momentum in the race, like in the quali, but then we got stopped by the red flag, unfortunately. We could get more ahead, so yeah, a bit frustrated, but overall happy, so yeah.
Do you think there was more in it from you before that red flag came out?
Yeah, for sure.
What was the track like? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was really fun, yeah.
There's going to be a lot going on today, and I feel like we're going to be talking about the weather a lot. It should be coming in, I think, the next few hours, and then not stopping until the end of the day, or maybe even tomorrow. We're not sure at this point. How confident are you in the wet, if we're safe enough to go racing?
Well, of course, you don't need to put limits on you when you're in the rain, but just need to, make the move, and we'll see what happens. But we're feeling confidence anyway. So yeah.
How in general has your season been going? All been good so far? Nice to see you back in Ultimate Cup.
Yeah, it's been a good one. Oh yeah, you see a red flag, but yeah.
I've just spotted the same. I just saw a red flag, so we'll head back to Chris shortly.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a really good season. I started with Lambo, now with Graf, so yeah. Good, it's a good stuff, yeah.
Seems we have some sort of runaway tyre, so I'm going to head back to you, Chris, because there is a red flag.
Yeah, red flags are now flying once again in qualifying, and there's been a big off at what looks like Casanova and Cervelli for the number 17 Nova, the Lamo Racing car. And just look at it, it's Carol Fritsch who was driving that car, and Carol was not part of the regular lineup for this weekend, the former monoplace racer with the Lamo team. And yes, we did see a runaway wheel on that run downhill. So obviously red flags are flying. The marshals are on the scene of the accident, and unfortunately we have a second interruption to clear the debris that was strewn across the grass on the inside. So while we just wait to see more news on that. Of course, great to hear from Kevin Rabin down in pit lane. Kevin Rabinowitz joined us for the first time in Hockenheim with the Lamo team, helped them secure pole position. Still, well, a young man, very early in his racing career, his first year of car racing, having started out in the prototype winter series this year and had a handful of midget outings, but very inexperienced but very rapid young man. So for this session so far, we have James Winslow, who's set the fastest time of a 1:42.773. That is the fastest time we've seen so far this weekend. He went 9/10 of a second clear for the Graf Racing team ahead of Inter-Europol Competition's Pedro Pirono, the Portuguese driver. Nova and LMP3 1 and 2. Pedro rejoining the series, racing in European Le Mans series with the team alongside Alexander Bukantsov. Was Kai Aski at the wheel for Q1, and obviously we haven't seen them out at every round so far this year, but they have been on the podium as Pedro Pirono and Alexander Bukantsov back at the season opener in Paul Ricard when they had Tim Creswick as part of the lineup. But our first time seeing the sister car of the 43 out this season as drivers wait in pit lane. And I tell you, actually, Pedro Pirono was on an incredibly quick lap when the red flag came out. Had just gone fastest in the first sector and done a personal best in the middle sector. But then the red flags came out. And that rather scuppered Pedro's opportunities by the looks of it. So we will have to settle for second fastest, and we'll see if we get this session restarted. We still had 10 minutes left on the clock, I believe. Obviously we shortened Q1 with just under 6 minutes remaining. Hopefully we do get the full running for this session in. As you can see, the paddock, the Ultimate Cup Series paddock that's been filled with the not only the European Endurance Prototype Cup teams, but also the Trofeo GTE teams that will also be racing this morning with a 4-hour race on for their own. And so already the GT Sprint and Formula Cup teams have already departed. So yeah, DB Autosport they're back with 2 cars now, and Matthias Besch rejoining the team as well aboard the number 21 car, so joining the lad and dad pairing of Daniel and Quentin Bassora. Matthias Besch, a very familiar name to anybody who remembers watching Rebellion Racing at the Le Mans 24 Hours. And we can see the 88 Team Virage car that Daniel Macier, according to Jacek Salonka, made contact with another car and ended up in the barriers as a result. And we do have the green flags waving once again. And the final 10 minutes of this Q2 session can hopefully run without interruption. So one car to keep an eye on will be the 34 Inter-Europol Competition Ligier of Pedro Pirono. Fastest in the first sector and a personal best in the middle sector before that red flag came out, as we mentioned. And he's rejoined at the racetrack there. So we see one of the 3 CD Sports cars, and there is Pedro Pirono. That CD Sport car closely followed by 2 of the ANS motorsport cars, and the 71 making wasting very little time. That's Karen Gaillard in 71, and she has been racing in Le Mans Cup as well, but in the GT category with the Iron Dames Lamborghini alongside Celia Martin. So we see the Inter-Eurobolt competition car there, Pedro Perino. Let's see what he can do. There is the number 8 car as well. All new lineup in the number 8 car. I can't remember if I mentioned that so far this weekend or not, because we were talking to Kevin Rabin. He's not the only new driver in that car. It's Jimmy Cho as well, and reigning champion George King as well in the Graf Nova. For an all-silver lineup, that's going to be rather heavily penalised. But let's go back down to Claire Cottingham in the pit lane.
Yeah, come down to car 12. Obviously, Nico Prost out on track. Alongside me is his teammate. You've just spoken to Nico. Obviously, another red flag, 2 red flags in one session, but that could have messed up Nico's lap.
Yeah, it's very difficult this weekend because we have a lot of cars on the track. And we have a lot of red flags, and it's difficult to work this weekend. And during the qualif, we can see right now it's quite difficult. I was improving, red flag, session over, and it was the same for Nico. It was improving a lot, so I hope he will succeed to make a full lap this time. We have 6 minutes, so. Cross the finger for him.
The session obviously has been restarted this time. Yours wasn't. How was he feeling in the car?
The car is better, so I think he is able to make a very quick lap. So I hope he will succeed.
I will let you go see how he gets on, because obviously you want to go watch it now.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the lap.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Gwenaël Delamere, the 38-year-old Parisian, sharing the number 12 CMR Ginetta G61 with Nico Prost, who's very much leading the development on Ginetta LMP3 machinery in anticipation of the 3rd generation car arriving in 2025. So we see Nico Prost, the World Endurance Championship class winner in the Rebellion Racing. So he and Matthias Becher reunited on the racetrack. Of course, a monoplace champion with the Ultimate Cup in recent years as well, but probably most known for his LMP1 privateer experience and Formula E experience, as one car has kicked up the gravel again. Now, was it the 72 ANS car there that was going a bit slowly that was responsible for it? Philippe Mondelot continuing on his way either way. There is the man that's fastest in this session so far, James Winslow. Might have just had to check up in the middle sector, though, coming up against that slow-moving ANS car, having gone fastest in the first sector, did James Winslow. You'll notice the JWR sticker on not only his, but also the number 8 car, as he's got his coaching customers aboard those cars. So let's see if Winslow can lower the benchmark. 1:42.773. Nicola Morlini's gone second fastest meanwhile, by the way. He's bridged the gap to just under 0.4 of a second. And yes, James Winslow definitely did have to back out of that last lap. The number 7 crew that leads the MPO2 standings, very much thanks to a incredible recovery drive in Hockenheim, where John Corbett picked up a puncture on the second lap of the race, and they fought their way back to finish 3rd in MPO2. And that is the kind of performance where the championships are made. So Nicola Morlini had just gone briefly fastest in the first sector. James Winslow's returned the serve since then. Nicolas Schatz, the ANS Motorsport team boss, has gone second fastest, but Morlini here is on a very good lap with 2 personal best in the first 2 sectors in the Racing Spirit of Le Mans MPO2, and he's going to get a little bit of a slipstream from the LMP3 car in front of him as well. And so when he goes across the line, he does go fastest. So not fastest in any of the 3 sectors particularly, but enough to put him on top with a 42.749, just 24 thousandths of a second ahead of James Winslow, who is still on a good lap here. It's not a personal best in the middle sector, but still faster than what Morlini managed to achieve, as Pierre-Alexandre Provost now goes fastest for MV2S Racing in their Nova, a 10th.5 clear of Morlini. Look at those gaps. There's absolutely nothing between 4th place and 8th. So that's Schatz, Perino, Imborg, Brikacek and Klosmanil, separated by the, absolutely nothing, as again James Winslow was unable to improve on that last lap. It's Provost with the best time in the middle sector. So, DB Autosport continues to circulate. 21, it's Daniel Bissora down in 33rd place at the moment, but there's the MV2S Racing car that is fastest, Pierre-Alexandre Provost. James Winslow again fastest in the first sector. He's nailing the first part of the lap, but it's unfurling as he ticks off the 15 corners of this 5.245 kilometre circuit. So Provost here in the 27, the young Frenchman, or the Luxembourgian, I should say, in his first season of prototype racing as well, having raced in Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine last year. He and Christophe Crespo on the podium in Portimao in the 6-hour race. And then we see James Winslow backing out of another lap, but building up to another one around this Buccini corner. Oh, that looked like one car going through the gravel there, but yet we have yellow flags out at turn 7 at Cervelli. That's the second time we've had an incident down there, and that looks to be the number 69 Breton Racing Ligier that has come to a stop there, but luckily has been able to come to a halt before hitting anything that will do damage to the car. So who is driving 6-4 at the moment? Well, I'll look for that in a moment. So it was a wiggle just on the exit of Cervelli, kicking through the gravel that loops the Ligier around. And yeah, hard on the brakes there and just saying stop, 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 and it did. But now we've got a car stopped on track. That looks like the 42 of Marius Fossard in the Team Virage, the third of the Team Virage Ligiers. So who was driving 69 as well? And we have a red flag again. Second red flag in Q2, third red flag of qualifying. So Alessandro Bresson was driving the Breton Racing car there, and now stopped on track in 42. The 42 Team Virage car. Yeah, Marius Fossard, as we mentioned, 9th fastest when he came to a stop, and the session will not restart. So that's the second one we've had to bring to a premature end, and assuming there's some sort of technical problem on the car, that won't be taking part in Q3 either. Marius Fossard, Le Mans Cup racer of this year, but with the Racing Spirit of Le Mans team, and Christophe Lapierre. But did race with Breton in Paul Ricard and Portimao with us in the European Endurance Prototype Cup. Right, so fastest in Q2 then, as we will not be getting going again, is Pierre-Alexandre Provost in the number 27 MV2S Racing Nova with the fastest time of the weekend, a 1:42.593. And again, we did not see times for 85 and 61, so they're going to be starting right down the rear of the field. And I didn't quite get a chance to see if the 88 managed to get out on track in that session. So I just want to see how close to schedule we're running, because Q3 was due to start at 9:40, is now 9:42. So yeah, having to cut these sessions short just to keep us on schedule. And of course, this has very much been the trend throughout the weekend, with drivers having to get to grips with this new circuit. Many of the drivers here, and even if some people have driven it before, it's very unlikely it will have been in this machinery. See a great look at the inside of the Nova there. The various buttons on the steering wheel. The flash button, that will get used a lot during the race, I'm sure. There's an awful lot of data on those screens that they have to try and take in while racing. That number 5 CD Sports car there, that is Thomas Imborg and Jonathan Thomas, our most recent overall race winners. They haven't really been setting the timing screens alight so far. Haven't noticed them towards the front of the field. Of course, they are one of the fastest pairings. An all-silver lineup in this championship, which is slightly unusual to have, but we do have a couple joining them. The number 8, Graf Koo, Kevin Brabham, Jimmy Cho, and George King. Being another one of them. But yeah, in terms of all silvers, I think that is it. Of course, a number of bronze drivers, of course, and all bronze lineups, which are entered into the ultimate classification. So we have LMP3 and MPO2, but there are sort of subcategories as well for all bronze lineups, LMP3 Ultimate and MPO2 Ultimate as well. So the track looking a lot cleaner now at Cervelli. After the off earlier there, that just before the red flag came out, didn't necessarily prompt the red flag. It was more the Breton car that was stopped in a slightly precarious position on the track. So we will go green at 9:46 and 30 seconds. So in literally 1 minute's time from now, as we can hear the fast lane being opened in preparation for the start of Q3. So Racing Spirit of Le Mans prep for that with a sticker set of Michelin rubber for Jacques Wolf. Oh no, it's the Ligier there, wasn't it? So cars lining up at the end of pit lane for the start of Q3. There is the number 27 MV2S Racing car that Pierre-Alexandre Provost was just fastest with. So it's Christophe Cresp back at the wheel of the car. have a feeling there's about to be an awful lot of noise in pit lane right about now because the green flag is out. And the final qualifying session is underway. The last chance to set the grid for this afternoon's 4-hour race. Round 4 of the European Endurance Prototype Cup. So the two Team Virage cars line astern there, so 88 is back out on track. That's going to save it quite considerably. But I do believe they managed to get out and just do a lap time. Didn't have to be a good lap time, just a lap time to keep them away from the back of the grid. TS Corsa, they're getting ready to head out on track. John Corbett back behind the wheel of the number 7 Graf car, the number 9 now out there. With Loris Kuipers switching over from the number 8 crew to replace David Drew. Normally aboard that car, but joining his Le Mans Cup team for this weekend. And his usual teammate of Adrian Klosmanil, who of course we've seen out in Ultimate Cup competition, not only here but also in the Formula Cup throughout the year. And they have their bronze driver Quentin Joseph, who has had a few track days in an LMP3 machinery, but in terms of racing, this is his first year, and he's just been racing in midgets. But Claire Cottingham is down in the MV2S Racing Garage with the man who was fastest in Q2.
Yeah, indeed, fastest in Q2, but once again, we saw a red flag out there. It's causing a lot of issues, isn't it? But your lap was fast enough to top Q2.
Yeah, it was a really good lap. A bit hard because I was my seat just moving on the car, so it was a bit slippery inside the car, not in the track, but it was a good lap. At the beginning of the weekend, we just have some difficulties to find a good setup, and finally yesterday we find the good one. So really happy about my lap with all the red flag. My team do a great job to put me in a good condition for the lap. So yeah, really happy to one more time make the fast lap in Q2. Yeah.
I would assume with the seat problem, your teammate's about to have the same issue.
Yeah, I don't know. It will be difficult, yeah.
So can you just talk me through what exactly was wrong with the seat?
I don't know, maybe it was not good fixing. So
not put on properly.
Yeah, but it was maybe not on the good place, and it was just moving, so it was just funny.
Definitely things that you can sort for the race, I'm sure. We were just talking before we went on air, lots of red flags, maybe more to see this afternoon as well. It's going to be a lot of disruption.
Yeah, normally we will have a bit more rain on during the race, so maybe more red flag. It will be difficult for the other strategy. It will be a bit of chance for everyone to take the good stop, and I don't know, it will be difficult. Just trying to have the good pace, be regular on your lap, and just keep the car on track. I think just finish the race in the first point, it's good. With the rain, it will be important.
Obviously, you're the silver driver, so the bronze driver out there at the moment in your teammate. How confident are you of a good qualifying session, especially with your lap?
I don't know. In his first qualifying session, he had the red flag, so he doesn't manage to have his best lap. He was maybe at 1-2 seconds from his best, so complicated. I hope in the second one it will be better. So, but I think in endurance, the place in qualifying is not the most important. We are forward. We can just go back and make a comeback. So even if we go and start from the P20, P15, it's not a problem. We will go back and with a good pace.
Important question of the day, are you good in the rain?
I think so. After the qualifying of Hockenheim, I not want to be too much, or I can say that, arrogant, but yeah, I think we can be good on the rain. If the car is good, it will be probably good, yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Good luck for the rest of qualifying.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Already only 10 minutes remaining in this qualifying session now, and it's Quentin Antonell, who has gone provisionally fastest in the 777 Lamo Nova. Quentin Antonell, the Super Trofeo racer, who is rejoining Jean-Marc Alaphilippe and Alexandre Lafourcade aboard that car. But Loris Kaiber's going second fastest just there, ahead of Michael Scrett. Well, now Pierre Caffer in 64 going fastest. So the time's coming in thick and fast. It's Racing Spirit of Le Mans, the German racer, the gold-rated driver, who has just done the best time of the session. And as soon as I get done saying that, Jonathan Thomas in the number 5 CD Sport car, our most recent race winner, now lowers the benchmark even further. So we have the 21 DB Autosport car there, just making a bit of a gap to Racing Spirit of Le Mans. I believe it's Matthias Besch who's now got aboard the number 21. Can't actually see the 21 on the standings, sadly, but now we have yellow flags out in the middle sector. Hopefully it's not a big drama down there, so that we don't have to have another red flag. And it looks like it's cleared already. Yep, green flag's now flying at turn 10, so whatever the drama was there has managed to be cleared pretty rapidly. As we watch that TB Autosport car, another car kicking up dust on the exit of Arrabbiata 2 into Scarperia. It's the ANS Ligier that's just making its way through the field, or through the track, I should say. Julien Lemoine at the wheel of the car. This is the 88, so new nose on that Team Virage car, of course, after the off it had in Q1. So that's ANS Motorsport coming across the line there, number 72, but it's David Drew who's now going fastest, another of the silver class drivers. Francesco Simonazzi, second fastest for TS Corsa, but David Drew is still going gun-ho in the first sector, as he has gone purple in the first sector. We have yellow flags out at turn 10. I think there was a message there that said car 72 went across the road there. So it's another of the ANS Motorsport Novas. So David Drew came across the line and didn't end up improving there, but here he is in the number 87 Cool Racing car, the car that he normally races in Le Mans Cup, the Le Mans Cup Championship leader with Adrien Closmanil. Quentin Joseph sharing the car with him, as we were talking about earlier, but the 555 Kogamo Nova has hit strife, meanwhile, at Sebastian Morales in the gravel. Where is that? That looks like Casanova and Cervelli again, and we have our fourth red flag of qualifying. Sebastian Morales needing intervention to have his car recovered from at Scarperia, actually, that the car has been stopped at. Looks like Casanova and Cervelli again, but it's actually slightly further around the lap. So Sebastian Morales bidding his own car, the Kogamo team boss. But at least he knows who to bill for the repair job, as the cars trundle their way back into pit lane once again. So David Drew fastest as it stands in Q3 for Cool Racing, a 1:42. At 9:30, just under half a second ahead of Francesco Simonazzi in the TS Corse Duqueine, and then Matthias Besch in the 21 DB Autosport Nova. That's fastest of the MPO2 runners for the former Rebellion racer. Then Jonathan Thomas. In the number 5 CD Sports Nova, Pierre Kapfer in the 64, which is the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Ligier. And Sebastian Gravland in 43, which is the second of the Inter-Europol competition cars. As we see, Sebastian Morales has been able to get out of the gravel trap and is taking himself back to the pit lane and trying to clear some of the gravel out of that MPO2 car before doing so. Silence once again befalls the Mugello circuit, and drivers getting out of the car. And you see, well, shrug of the shoulders there from Matthias Besch. Now I wonder if they're already anticipating that this session's not going to be restarted, because we have 6.5 minutes left on the clock, and we had similar amount of time left in Q1, and that session did not get restarted. So we will see. So this is Matthias Besch having a word with the Racing Spirit of Le Mans team. Who's driving in that? I assume it was Jacques Wolf as the bronze driver. Yes, it was. So Matthias Besch there having a just a little chat with Jacques Wolf. Wonder if that was related to the slight shrug of the shoulders of Matthias. But the marshals continuing to just clear the track, and once again we're very grateful for the marshals' support. They're out there in the line of fire for free, no less. As cars are already being pushed back into their garages, so DB Autosport think this session isn't going to get going again. Maybe CD Sport feel the same as well, as they're wheeling Jonathan Thomas back to the garage. Remember, he was fourth fastest in that session. TS Course now doing the same with Francesco Simonazzi. So, well, this is not filling me with confidence that we're going to get this session underway again. Maybe they're just parking it in front of the garage rather than getting it in the garage itself. Oh, that's looking a little less likely from CD Sport. In fact, that's heading more towards scrutineering, isn't it? Yep, the message has come through. The session will not be restarted, and so that is all for qualifying. David Drew, fastest in Q3. The grid is set for this afternoon's race, and so be sure to join us at 2:40 for the start of round 4 of the European Endurance Prototype Cup.
Être un bon traiteur, c'est être intransigeant sur la qualité. On ne fait du bon qu'avec le meilleur. C'est être impitoyable sur les recettes. Quand c'est bon, il n'y a rien à ajouter, rien à enlever. C'est être irréprochable sur le goût. Il faut prendre du plaisir pour en donner. Voilà, pour être un bon traiteur, il faut être intraitable.
Parfaitement intraitable.
Trofeo GTE action about to get underway with a 4-hour race coming up. We have a great mix of different GT machinery from GT3 specification, Ferrari GT3 specification, Porsche Cup cars, Alpine Cup cars, and GT4 machinery, as well as the Vortexes that are out in force for today, although down to 2, sadly, for the French marque, as one of their cars, the 21, after their engine issue yesterday.